The League presents Canines by Colton. When 5 mutants come together, they must stop a new threat. Will this be the end of the Earth? Or will they be able to stop the mutant Sind? Samaj light years from Earth. Footsteps running. Layla Atkinson appears, then throws a black orb. Policemen fall. Morris Musso appears behind a dumpster, then peeks out. Layla runs. Morris fires a laser gun. Layla gets shot in the shoulder, then leans against a wall. Morris approaches, then points the laser gun at Layla. "It's over, Layla," said Morris. "I won't go to jail," said Layla. "It's either jail or death." "I'd choose the jail," said Morris. Layla looks at Morris. "Neither," said Layla's eyes turning black. Morris goes to fire the laser gun. Pitch black comes from Layla's eyes, then hits Morris. Morris goes through a window. Layla groans. Sirens are wailing in the distance. Layla looks, sees a spaceship, smiles, and then walks towards it. The spaceship door opens and then shuts. The spaceship starts, then flies away. Layla is pushing buttons. The spaceship disappears. Earth year 2125. Footsteps walking, then stumbles. "Watch it, freak," said woman number 1. Footsteps continue walking and stumbling. Muffled voice. "Spare change," said male voice. Number 1. "Get a job, man," said number 1, walking past. A figure appears with long hair, then turns. Mark. Lewitt growls, then continues walking. A building appears. A window opens. Mark crawls through the window, shuts it, and then walks away. A light is shining in the distance. Candles appear everywhere. Mark throws down paper. A picture of Alexis, Amanda, Billy, Christopher, Lewis, and Reginald appears. Mark puts the picture face down, then walks into another room. A rat walks, looks up, and then runs. Mark lands on the floor, groans, and then chases the rat. The rat runs into a hole in the wall. Mark grabs the rat's tail. The rat is squeaking. Mark laughs. Another rat appears, then bites Mark's hand. Mark lets go of the rat's tail, growls, then grabs a crowbar. The crowbar hits, then starts breaking the wall. Mark reaches into the hole. Eerie sound in the distance. Mark stands, then looks out the window. A fireball appears in the distance, then crashes into the ground. The spaceship's door opens. Layla walks off the spaceship. "What place is this?" asked Layla. Cars driving past. Layla walks, then sees a town. Footsteps walking away. The sun rises. Mark is sleeping, then wakes up. Rats are squeaking. Mark looks. Rats appear. "Fuck you, rodents." Mark groans, walks past the window, then walks back. "Holy shit," said Mark in shock. The spaceship appears in the distance. People appear in front of a barrier. Mark is hiding behind a tree. "Please stay back," said officer number 1. People are walking off the spaceship. Mark walks slowly, climbs up a tree, then looks through the windshield. The spaceship is empty. Mark jumps on top of the spaceship, then sees the roof hatch. The roof hatch opens. Mark jumps into the spaceship, talking from a distance. Mark peeks around the corner, then sees Morris. "Take him to the general hospital." "And no one talks to him," said number 2. Mark moves. Number 2 looks, walks down the hallway, and then sees nothing. "Is everything all right, sir?" asked number 3. "Yes, let's keep looking around. See if there's anything else to take," said number 2. Both number 2 and number 3 walk away. Mark is hiding behind another tree, and he sees Morris being loaded into an ambulance. The ambulance doors shut, and then it drives away. Mark goes behind the tree. The ambulance pulls into the parking lot, then stops. The ambulance doors open. Paramedics pull out Morris. Mark watches, then looks up at the roof. Morris gets put on a hospital bed. Nurses are walking out of the room. Morris groans, then looks around the room. "You're in a safe place, for now anyway," said Mark. Morris looks at Mark. "Where am I?" asked Morris. "A hospital," said Mark. "Where is she?" asked Morris. "Who?" asked Mark. "The woman that was in the spaceship," said Morris. "People only found you," said Mark. "Oh no. Then she's out there," said Morris. "Who is?" asked Mark. "Layla Atkinson, or and Quat. Darkness, and Quat. I need you to help me get out of here," said Morris. "Oh, I would love to. But how can I trust you?" asked Mark. "Fine, I'll do it myself," said Morris, talking from a distance. Mark looks at Morris. Footsteps approaching. Number 2 walks into the room, looks around, and then sees nurse number 1. "Excuse me, where's the man that was brought here?" asked number 2. "In that room," said nurse number 1. "He ain't there," said man number 2. People are running into the room. Both Mark and Morris are gone. "We have a patient missing," said nurse number 1, running out of the room. "What do we do, sir?" asked number 3. "We must find him. We don't know what he's capable of," said number 2. "Yes, sir," said number 3, walking away. Number 2 walks, then looks out the window. Both Mark and Morris are standing on a ledge. Mark said, "And Quat, shh, I'm going to push you up." And Quat, Morris gets pushed up, then climbs onto the roof. "I'm up. Where'd you go?" asked Morris. Mark appears behind Morris. "Right here," said Mark. How'd asked Morris, being confused. "When you know the question, ask it. We need to get back to my place." "No one will find us there," said Mark. "How do we get down?" asked Morris. "Leave that to me," said Mark, grabbing Morris, then throwing him off the roof. Morris starts screaming, then gets caught by Mark. "How did you do that?" asked Morris. "All right, let's get going," said Mark. The building appears. Both Mark and Morris climb through the window. "Isn't it easier to use the door?" asked Morris. "You can try, but you'd need a lot of strength to bust through a pile of furniture," said Mark. Footsteps walking. "You live here," said Morris. "Yes," said Mark. Morris looks, grabs the picture, and then sees all 6 League members. "Who are these 5? asked Morris. Mark grabs the picture. "No one important." "Why are you here?" asked Mark. "Well, I followed someone onto that spaceship. She came here, and she is dangerous," said Morris. "Yes, Layla Atkinson. You told me this." "What did she do?" asked Mark. "She's a mutant. Where I'm from, mutants must get thrown into jail," said Morris. "Well, Morris, you know how you asked, and Quat. How did I get you down so fast?" And Quat. Mark turns towards Morris, and then his eyes turn yellow. "I'm a mutant too," said Mark. Morris goes to grab his laser gun. "Back off," said Morris. Mark's eyes turn back to normal. "Don't worry, I'm good. I don't kill humans." "Not anymore," said Mark. "Anymore? You used to," asked Morris. "Yeah, When I first turned into this, said Mark. You weren't always like this? Asked Morris. No, I was human. But my mutant name is Unquat, hyena and Quat, said Mark. Morris looks at Mark. And Quat, hyena, and Quat. I need to show you something. It's on the spaceship, said Morris. Footsteps. Walking. Morris puts down a drawing. Mark looks at the drawing. What is this? Asked Mark. An ancient prophecy. 5 ancestors of Canines will kill darkness, said Morris. Mark looks at Morris. Footsteps walking. Layla looks around. People whistling. Hey honey, want to party with her? Real man? Asked number 4. Layla looks at number 4, approaches, and then kisses him. Number 4 opens his eyes, then groans. Hey, get off him, said number 5. Number 4 continues struggling, then his eyes turn black. Layla looks at number 5, then smiles. Number 4 stands up, then looks at number 5. You're next, said Layla. Number 5 gets pulled. Music playing. Strippers dancing. People are putting money into underwear. The door breaks, flies across the room, and then hits the wall. Layla walks inside. Both number 4 and number 5 appear. People looking. Hey, you need to leave, said number 6. Layla kisses number 6. Man. Number 6 is struggling, then his eyes turn black. Layla walks onto stage. People cowering. Stop it, said number 4. Silence, all of you. My name is Layla Adkisson, but you all could call me Darkness. This planet will be mine. Darkness will reign forever. And nothing will stop me, said Layla. Laughing. The spaceship appears. Mark turns his head. Is something wrong? Asked Morris. I hear laughter. And it's an evil laughter, said Mark. Darkness, said Morris. Mark growls, then runs. Morris follows. Laughter continues. Mark jumps through a window, then sees Layla. Who are you? Asked Layla. Mark Lewitt, or hyena, said Mark. A mutant, said Layla. Yes, you chose the wrong planet to destroy, said Mark. Layla laughs. And who's going to stop me? You, asked Layla. If you mess with a man's home, he'll do whatever it takes to protect it, said Mark. Kill him, said Layla. Number 4, number 5, and number 6 swing their fists. Mark flips number 6, then looks at number 4. Come on, said man. Number 4. Mark punches number 4. Number 4 looks at Mark. Shit, said Mark, going through a wall. Footsteps. Approaching. Mark, are you all right? Asked Morris. Now I know what that feels like, said Mark. Where's Darkness? Asked Morris. In there. Mark stands up. Morris runs into the strip club. The strip club's empty. Mark stumbles. Do you know where she'd go? Asked Mark. Anywhere. I need to find her, said Morris, walking away. Wait. I'll help, said Mark. I don't think so. Sorry. I believe you're good. I just don't trust mutants, said Morris. Hey, you told me the same thing. I trust you. Now you trust me, said Mark. No, said Morris. Well, either way, I'm still going. 'Cause I help humans. We mutants and humans trust each other, said Mark. All right, we just have to find the other 4, said Morris. Who? Asked Mark. The prophecy, said Morris. The spaceship starts. I don't think people will like a spaceship flying around, said Mark. I got that covered, said Morris, pushing buttons. The spaceship disappears, then flies away. Who's first? asked Mark. Someone named Ignatius McKellen, said Morris. What a name, Ignatius, said Mark. What about yours? Asked Morris. Mark. That's my name, said Mark. I mean, Lewitt, said Morris. That's not my last name. Lewitt was the last name of my first victim, said Mark. So, what's your last name? Asked Morris. I don't remember, 'cause, for how long I've been alive. Time passes, said Mark. Morris looks confused. How old are you? Asked Morris. 287, said Mark. What? Said Morris. Well, I stopped counting once I hit that number, said Mark. When were you born? Asked Morris. Whenever the Middle Ages started, said Mark. You've been alive that long, said Morris. The spaceship lands, and then the door opens. Where will we find this Ignatius? Asked Mark. It says he owns a dojo, said Morris. A dojo, said Mark. Both Mark and Morris are walking. People are looking at Morris. Why do they keep looking at me? Asked Morris. Maybe because you look like you're going to take a ride on the Enterprise. Here it is, Kirk, said Mark. Both Mark and Morris are walking into a building. Excuse me, is Ignatius McKellen here? Asked Morris. Yes, right here, said Ignatius McKellen, appearing. The first time I had to look up at someone in a while, said Mark. Hello, Mr. McKellen, I'm Morris Musso. This is Mark Lewitt, said Morris. How may I help you, gentlemen? Asked Ignatius. Well, could we talk in private? Asked Morris. Sure. Follow me, said Ignatius. All three walk into the office. The office door shuts. Ignatius sits in a chair. Listen, we need your help, said Morris. With what, criminals? 'Cause it looks like you could take care of yourselves, said Ignatius. No, not that. I'm from a planet called Sind Samaj. I followed someone who was a prisoner here, and you could help capture her, said Morris. That's funny. What's next? Bigfoot is going to come from the woods. Listen, I wasn't born yesterday, said Ignatius. No, you were born on May 25th, 2095, said Mark. How'd you know that? I never told anyone. Except Ned, said Ignatius. Ned Monk? Asked Morris. Yes, said Ignatius. Do you know where he is? We need to talk to him too, said Morris. Ignatius stands up, walks towards the office door, and then opens it. And quat, Ned, and quat. Come here, said Ignatius, walking back towards the desk. Footsteps approaching. Ned Monk appears. What's up? Asked Ned. These people want to talk to you, said Ignatius. I'm Morris. And that's Mark. We need your help. Both of you, said Morris. With what? Asked Ned. A prisoner from my planet came here. She's going to destroy the world, said Morris. Both Ignatius and Ned are laughing. I really like a comedy act. That's good, said Ned. Ned, did you tell that man my birthday? Asked Ignatius. I have never seen him before in my life, said Ned. Well, how could you, Ned Monk? You were born on May 5th, 2104? Asked Mark. Ignatius, did you set this up? Asked Ned. No, did you? Asked Ignatius. Ned shakes his head. Do you believe us now? And quat? Fox and quat? And quat? Dingo, and quat? Asked Mark. You know where? Mutants, said Ned. Yes. Plus, I could smell your fear of hiding it, said Mark. You don't have to hide anymore. 'Cause we're all on the same side, said Morris. Both Ignatius and Ned look at each other. Ignatius nods. Both Ignatius and Ned are groaning. Bones cracking. Both Ignatius and Ned are growling. Mark smiles. Ignatius and Ned transform into both Dingo and Fox, then breathe heavily. I'm guessing you're in? Asked Morris. We're in, said Ignatius. Footsteps walking. Who's next? Asked Mark. Someone named Donald Bell, said Morris. What's his power? Asked Ignatius. He's a shapeshifter, said Morris. Oh, like a tiger, shark, etc. asked Ned. No, he only turns onto one animal, said Morris. What? Asked Ned. Technically, he turns into a werewolf, said Morris. Oh, great, said Mark. The spaceship flies away. The woods appear. Ma number 7 and woman number 2 are kissing. Clothes are being taken off. A twig snaps. Did you hear that? Asked woman number 2. No, don't worry. We're safe out here, said number 7, kissing woman number 2. Woman number 2 is moaning. Ma number 7 goes down woman number 2's body. Woman number 2 continues moaning. Ma number 7 gets pulled into the bush. Hey, don't stop, growling. From inside the bushes, woman number 2 looks. Oh my God, said woman number 2. A werewolf appears, then gets face to face with woman number 2, whistling in the distance. The werewolf looks. Mark appears. Come on. But, said Mark, running. The werewolf growls, then follows Mark. Mark continues running. The werewolf continues to follow. Mark, keep running, said Morris over the earpiece. No problem, said Mark. The werewolf appears in front of Mark. Mark slides, then runs. The werewolf follows Mark. Are you all right, Mark? Asked Morris over the earpiece. Peachy, said Mark. Mark, Ignatius, and Ned. Just set the trap. Jump across the river, said Morris. Mark's running. A river appears to be flowing. Mark speeds up, then jumps over the river. I'm here, said Mark. The werewolf jumps over the river, then lands in front of Mark. Mark looks. Mark, hold on, said Morris over the earpiece. The werewolf walks towards Mark. Fuck you, said Mark. The werewolf swings his arm. A twig snaps. Net traps the werewolf. The werewolf is struggling. Both Ignatius and Ned approach. Are you all right? Asked Ned. For the first time in my life, I was actually scared, said Mark. I didn't think it would work, asked Ignatius. I thought you put it in the wrong spot, said Mark. Morris approaches. I got him, said Morris. The werewolf continues struggling. Morris fires a dart gun. The werewolf stops moving. What was that for? Asked Ned. To get him onto the ship. And just in case, said Morris. The spaceship appears, banging on the glass. He can't get out, can he? Asked Ignatius. On my planet, C4 can't break this. So, we have nothing to worry about, said Morris. Any others we need to pick up? Asked Ned. One more. Joel Depp, said Morris. The spaceship flies away. Ned looks at Mark. Hey, how do you know our birthdays? Asked Ned. I know my history. Even the wolf boy over there, said Mark. What, did you go through our records? Asked Ignatius. No. Do you know how people say they know their history? I've actually been through history, said Mark. What do you mean? Asked Ignatius. I went through history, said Mark. And what? Can you time travel, and what? Ned inquired. No. I just been through a lot, said Mark. Then, how have you been through history? The only way is if you can't die, said Ned. Mark smiles. You can't die. How's that possible? Asked Ignatius. The spaceship lands. Tell them along the way. We can't waste time, said Morris. You think we should leave the ship alone with the werewolf, said Ned. It'll be fine, and like I said. And quat. Nothing can break through that and quat, said Morris. All four are walking away. A museum appears. All four are approaching, then stop. So, Joel Depp works here? Asked Mark. Not exactly. He lives here, said Morris. All four walk into the museum. What do you mean? And quat. He lives here, and quat? Asked Mark. He lives in one part of the museum, said Morris. All four continue walking. Roman soldiers appear. This place? Asked Ned. No, it's around the corner, said Morris. Mark walks, then sees a wax figure of a woman. Are you all right, Mark? Asked Ignatius. Do you know her? Asked Ned. Yes, said Mark. Ned sees the date. This was in the Middle Ages. How do you know her? Asked Ned. I was born in the Middle Ages. I was a Roman soldier. Worked alongside the king. I have fought in so many battles. Then I fell in love with a woman. April Lewitt was her name. Her father found out who was the king. He banished me from the kingdom. I walked for days until a woman found me. The woman knew who I was. I told her what happened. She asked if I wanted revenge. And the king's daughter? I said, and quat, yes, and quat, I'd do anything. Plus, I didn't know this woman was a witch. Not until after, said Mark. What happened? Asked Ignatius. I sold my soul. Then she gave me the power of immortality and made me part hyena. After the transformation, I attacked everyone in the kingdom, even the woman I loved. That's when I started killing. And I kept listening to the hyena side, said Mark. Morris clears his throat. All three look. Let's keep going. Time's running out, said Morris. All four walk. The Egyptian room appears. Morris walks up towards the crypt. What are you doing? Asked Ned. Joel Depp is in here. Come give me a hand, said Morris. Both Ignatius and Ned help lift the lid off the crypt. A carcass appears. This ain't good, said Morris. Yeah, he's been dead for years, said Ned. No, that carcass is fresh, said Morris. I would be hungry, said Ignatius. Don't you get it? It means Joel Depp is out. What kind of canine is he? Asked Mark. A jackal, said Morris. Mark looks at Morris. Jackal, said Mark. Morris nods, growling in the distance. All four are looking around. Mark's nails grow. Ned pulls out his nunchucks. Ignatius pulls out a staff. Morris points his laser gun. Ned is slowly walking backwards, breathing on Ned. Ned freezes, then turns around. Joel Depp appears, then growls. Guys, I found him, said Ned. All three look. Ignatius runs towards Joel, then swings the staff. Joel blocks with a scepter, then kicks Ignatius. Ned swings nunchucks. Joel blocks the nunchucks, then hits Ned with the scepter. Mark runs, then jumps at Joel. Joel points the scepter. A white light forms, then hits Mark. Mark goes through a wall. Morris looks, sees a chandelier, then fires the laser gun. The rope snaps. The chandelier falls onto Joel. The scepter slides. Morris points the laser gun, then approaches Joel. Joel groans. Mr. Joel Depp, we need your help, said Morris. Joel tries picking up the chandelier. Do you think he understood you? Asked Ned. I don't know. Did your Egyptians speak English? Asked Morris. I guess, said Ignatius. Joel clears his throat. If you please get this chandelier off me, I'd really appreciate it, said Joel. All three lift the chandelier. Joel stands up, then grabs the scepter. Sorry about the chandelier, said Morris. It's all right, said Joel. Why do you attack us? Asked Ignatius. Well, I thought you were after the gem, just like that guy was, said Joel. Why would he want that gem? Asked Morris. He said, and quote, darkness will make no more light, and the age of darkness will begin, and quote, said Joel. Morris gasps. And quote, the Joel gem, and quote, on my planet, that's what it's called. She plans to take it, then wipe out the entire universe. As long as we have this, darkness will come to us, said Morris. The spaceship appears. The werewolf continues banging on the glass. Layla appears. Oh, poor baby, you need to stay in there. Number 4 approaches. Kill the others, said Layla. People are running toward the museum. Mark groans. Morris helps Mark stand up. That actually hurt, said Mark, yelling in the distance. What the hell is that? Asked Ned. People run around the corner, then towards the group. Oh shit, said Mark. All 5 swinging weapons. There's too many, said Ignatius. Number 2 appears. You, said Morris, firing his laser gun. A white light shines. This way. Come on, said Joel. All 5 are running. Number 8 grabs the gem. Joel pulls on the gem, then loses his grip. Door shuts. Banging on the door. Shit, they have the gem, said Morris. How do we get out of here? Since we're trapped. Mark sees a light. There must be a window. I see light, said Mark. All 5 walk. The light gets brighter. A window appears. Yes, said Ned, trying to open the window. What's wrong? Asked Ignatius. It's stuck, said Ned. Step back, said Joel, raising his scepter. A white light goes through the window. Layla sees the light. What is that? Asked Layla. All 3 are crawling through the window. Banging on the door gets louder. Both Mark and Morris look. The door breaks. Get out, Mark said. Morris. You first, said Mark. Go now. Door falls. Kill darkness and save the universe, said Morris. Mark climbs through the window. Morris is firing his laser gun. People falling then surround Morris. Morris screams. And quat, Morris, and quat, yelled Mark. Let's go. Mark, he's gone, said Ned. All 4 are running. Layla appears by the window, then sees all 4 running. Number 4 approaches. We've retrieved and quat, the Joel gem, and quat, said number 4. Good. Now we could proceed. And the light will vanish, said Layla. And what about them? Asked number 4. If they try to stop us, we'll kill them, said Layla. Footsteps running, then stop. Damn, she has a lot of minions, said Ned. Yeah, too many to fight, said Ignatius. And now they have the gem. She'll stop the light from rising, so darkness could spread, said Joel. What do we do? Asked Ned. Go after her. No matter how many there are, I won't live in darkness. Not again, said Mark. Where will we find her? Asked Ignatius. A place where no one would ever find her, said Joel. Mark thinks, I know the perfect place. But first, said Mark, walking onto the spaceship. The bathroom door opens and then shuts. Hair clippers appear, then turn on. Hair falls to the floor. All three are sitting. The bathroom door opens. All three look. Mark appears with a mohawk. Mark, said Ignatius. Call me Hyena, said Mark, putting on a trench coat. Where's Darkness heading? Asked Joel. My home, said Mark. Sitting in a chair. Do you know how to fly this thing? Asked Ignatius. Not really. Everyone strap in, said Mark, pushing buttons. The spaceship flies away. Footsteps walking, then stop. A building appears. Why here? Asked number 4. We don't want any interruptions, said Layla, walking into the building. This will be the beginning, said number 5. Yes, let's begin the ceremony, said Layla. Number 4 hands. And quat, the Joel, Jem and quat, to Layla. Layla turns around, looks at people, raises and quat, the Joel, Jem, and quat, then starts chanting. A black light goes into the sky. The spaceship is flying. What the hell is that? Asked Ignatius. The ceremony has begun, said Joel. We need to stop them, said Ned. The spaceship flies past. They're here, said number 5. Kill them, said Layla, continuing to chant. The spaceship lands, and then the door opens. Guys, let's do this for Morris, said Mark. All three nod, banging on the glass. What about him? Asked Ned. I'll release him, said Mark. All three run. Mark walks towards the cell, whistling behind Mark. Mark looks. Number 2 punches Mark. Mark falls. You will not win, said number 2. Do you know how many times I've heard that? Asked Mark. Darkness must rise, so we can survive, said number 2. I lived in the darkness for a while. I didn't like it, said Mark. Number 2 grabs a sword, then points it at Mark. Like that saying goes, and quat, only the strongest survive and quat, said number 2. Mark laughs. That's my motto, said Mark. Number 2 swings the sword. Mark grabs the blade. Die, said number 2. You first, said Mark, moving the blade towards the key panel. Number 2 gets shocked, then falls. The cell door opens. Number 2 groans, then sees the werewolf. The werewolf growls, then pulls number 2 into the cell. Blood splatters onto the glass. The werewolf looks, sees Mark, then growls. Mark runs. The werewolf follows. All three are hiding behind trees. We need to stop them, said Joel. Wait for Mark, said Ned. Footsteps approaching. Here he comes, said Ignatius. Mark appears. Run toward them, said Mark. All three look. The werewolf approaches. All three are running towards the building. People look, then run towards all four of them. Duck, said Ignatius. All four duck. The werewolf jumps at people. People are screaming and getting ripped apart. And quat, canines, and quat, attack, and quat, yelled Mark. All four are running at people. Number 4 looks. They're outside, darkness, said number 4. Go stop them, said Layla, continuing to chant. Number 3, number 4, and number 5 are running out of the building. Ignatius swings his staff. Ned swings nunchucks. Joel points his scepter. A white light is hitting people. Mark is cutting people with his nails. The werewolf continues to tear people apart. Number 3 points a gun at Mark. A laser beam hits number 3. Mark looks. Morris appears. Morris, you're alive, said Mark. Barely. Where's Darkness? Asked Morris. In the building, said Mark. Both number 4 and number 5 appear in front of Mark and Morris. You won't stop Darkness, said number 4. Morris, go. I'll handle these. 2, said Mark. Are you sure? Asked Morris. Yeah. Hurry, said Mark. Morris runs. Both number 4 and number 5 swing axes. Mark continuously moves, trips number 5, then spin kicks number 4. You're going to get it now, said number 5, swinging the axe. Mark ducks, trips number 5, grabs the axe, then raises it. Sorry, said Mark, swinging the axe. Number 4 swings his axe. The axe goes into Mark's back. Mark falls. And quat, Mark, and quat, yelled Ignatius, swinging his staff. Number 4 moves, then trips Ignatius. The axe is being taken out of Mark's back. Like I said, and quat, Darkness will rise and quat, said number 4, raising his axe, then gasping. An axe appears in number 4's back. Mark appears. That hurt, said Mark. Footsteps walking. Morris points his laser gun at Layla. Captain, welcome to the end, said Layla. This ain't the end. It is for you, though, said Morris. I don't think so, said Layla, turning around and then throwing a black orb. Morris moves, then fires the laser gun. You won't win, said Morris. Yes, I will. This universe will bow to me, said Layla. Not while I'm alive, said Morris, firing his laser gun. Layla throws a black orb. Morris falls. The laser gun slides. Morris reaches for the laser gun. Layla steps onto Morris's hand, grabs the laser gun, and then points it at him. This is the end of you, said Layla. Mark looks. Joel, said Mark, pointing. Joel raises his scepter. A white light hits Layla. Layla goes into walls. All 4 are running into the building. Morris grabs the laser gun. It's over, Layla, said Morris. The ground is rumbling. What's going on? Asked Ned. The gem, said Joel, running towards and quat, the Joel. Gem, and quat, then grabbing it. Joel, said Ignatius. Joel looks at all 4 of them, then burns. And quat, Joel and quat, yelled Mark. Layla laughs. You're too late, said Layla. Mark grabs Joel's scepter, then points it. A white light hits and quat, the Joel gem, and quat, the Joel gem and quat. Breaks. The black light disappears. Layla looks. Morris is pointing the laser gun. Layla Atkinson. It's time for you to go to jail, said Morris, growling behind all 5 of them. All 5 turn around. The werewolf appears. The sun rises. The werewolf falls, howls, and then transforms into Donald. Donald groans. How'd I end up here? Asked Donald. We'll tell you the entire story, said Ned. I want to thank you, said Morris. Yeah, at least she's been stopped, said Mark. You know, I can finally trust mutants, said Morris. We're all not evil. It depends on how we are treated, said Mark. I'll be back. Who knows when, said Morris. You think more mutants will come here? Asked Ned. Yes, and the Canines will always stop them, said Morris. The spaceship flies away. The end.